Good morning, it's Monday, February 28th, and this is your Barbados Today Morning News Update. An intense near 5-hour rescue effort by the Barbados Fire Service, the Barbados Defence Service, and police for a missing person at Cove's Cave, St. Thomas, last night paid off. Around midnight, 17-year-old Sheadon Padmore emerged from the cave unscathed into the arms of worried family members who were at the scene. Padmore had gone on a tour of the cave with his friends earlier on Sunday.
I would like to thank everyone, the police, the task force, everybody that went and bring my grandson out of that cave. I don't know how I feel tonight. Oh Lord, have mercy. I feel so great to have my grandson back in my arms again. I thank everyone that is alive and well.
The final part is called stage 3. So stage 3 usually is just like you go on the rocks and you come back out over the other side. However, stage 3 today it had a lot of water because of the rain and stuff, so it was hard to get through stage 3, but I made it through. But the only problem for me was light. Had I had light down in the cave, I would have been back out ever since, but light was the problem for me. But otherwise, it was pretty okay. I came out unharmed. No, I wasn't scared at all. I know the cave and I know my friends would have left me down there, so I tried to make my way to the exit because I know my friends would have been there to help me out.
Going back? So how long you was going to this cave?
I probably went in the cave 10 times or more. That's the truth.
No, how long?
Oh, we went in the cave like early evening. We got into the cave safely. It was a rough journey, but together we made it out. I want to apologize to my family for everything they went through. I know it's hard for them, a bunch of emotional people, but we made it out.
Say that again, Jaden. One more time.
What?
How you want to say thanks?
Right, I want to say thanks to everybody for coming out tonight and getting me out of this cave safely. Thank you.
Grant, how you feeling at this point?
I feel a bit relieved, but I still got the nervy feeling in me. But thank God, he got out safely. Praise God.
That was his mama.
Barbados recorded its 5th road fatality for the year. Motorcyclist 33-year-old Jamal Shane Quinton of 3rd Avenue, Licorice Village, My Lord's Hill, died on Sunday along the Bell Road in St. Michael just before 11 o'clock. Police Public Relations Officer Acting Inspector Rodney Innes spoke to reporters at the scene.
It involved one vehicle, a motorcyclist, who reportedly was traveling on his way in that direction, western direction, then reportedly lost control and struck a wall. He unfortunately passed away at the scene. A medical doctor visited the scene and confirmed death. In the circumstances, we want to thank those people who live on either side who would have witnessed and who have come forward to tell us and assist us with our investigation. But at this stage, that's all we know thus far.
Minister of Youth, Community Empowerment and Sports Charles Griffith says a draft national sports policy will shortly be presented to Cabinet for approval. Griffith made the announcement during a service of Thanksgiving to mark his second victory at the polls at the Unity Wesleyan Holiness Church on Sunday. He says that government is taking sports seriously.
The sports policy, without going into details before it goes to Cabinet, will look at how we treat the sports. How we look at particular disciplines, where we place them in terms of priority, how we make sure now that sports is something that is really a viable entity on the landscape of Barbados. Sports tourism is a big thing. So without trying to go before what goes to Cabinet, I can't really speak a lot of it. After Cabinet would have approved it, then we're going to see how best that we can roll it out.
During a COVID-19 update over the weekend, Minister of Health and Wellness Ian Gadinejo said officials were working toward a purposeful reintroduction of sports within 2 weeks to ensure the safety of players and spectators. Speaking to Barbados Today yesterday, Sports Minister Charles Griffith provided details on how sporting activities will resume.
We have made a decision that we're going to do a phased reopening of sports. And what will happen is that the national federations will send the protocols that they have developed for their particular discipline. will send them to the ministry. They will then pass them on to the COVID unit, or I think they will send a copy to the COVID unit as well, to ensure that best practices ensue. So as long as the COVID unit approve the protocols that they would have developed for their particular discipline, then we will look to see how we can have those particular disciplines re-enter full-time in terms of training, in terms of competition.
In other news this Monday, government is moving to put measures in place to cushion any likely fallout from the unfolding war involving Russia and Ukraine. Prime Minister Mia Mottley warned that the invasion could have implications for the cost of fuel and food, but assured that Barbados has sufficient foreign reserves to serve as a buffer.
We have been monitoring this situation for some time, and it was as a result of this and general disruptions in the global supply chain that we started to meet with the private sector from late last year. It is also why I've taken a peculiar and particular interest in ensuring that we can boost food production in the Ministry of Agriculture in order to make sure that Barbados is in a better position to feed itself. It is also why when I went to Guyana week before last that we would have discussed with President Ali the urgent importance of having the Barbados Guyana food terminal established. And as we go to CARICOM heads next week, yesterday we had a meeting of COTED discussing the plans to allow us to literally produce 25% of the food that is now being imported by 2025. The urgency of the moment with the Ukraine crisis is undoubtedly there, but we have been preparing for some time for this unstable world, which has led to increase in food prices.
In other news this Monday, key stakeholders are set to continue talks this week in preparation for Cropover 2022. At the weekend, Prime Minister Mia Mottley announced the festival is on, but with changes. This year, staging of Grand Kadooment and 4-Day Morning will be decentralized through at least 8 venues.
The big elephant in the room and the big question for all Barbadians is Cropover. What happens for Cropover? We are satisfied that we can have the season of emancipation and a modified Cropover season, and I'm sure that all Barbadians will be happy to hear that. What does this mean in real terms? That the staging and execution of Grand Kadooment and 4-Day Morning, which of course would be the two events that would normally give the Ministry of Health their greatest concern, we've now agreed that we will decentralize this such that we will have at least 8 venues that will accommodate persons wanting to play mass for 4-Day Morning and for Grand Kadooment. And it means that those persons who will attend those decentralized venues will have to adhere to the same rules that persons attending fetes will adhere to over the course of the next few months.
Meanwhile, Health and Wellness Minister Ian Gideon-Edgell announced a further ease in restrictions as he declared that the COVID-19 situation is now under control.
These factors indicate that the COVID situation in Barbados is under control and getting better. Schools have reopened and so far, and based on reports by the Ministry of Education, Technological and Vocational Training, this process has been relatively smooth, and there have been no cases reported to the Chief Medical Officer for investigation. This is a tribute to the cooperation and discipline of parents, students, teachers, unions, parents-teachers associations, and all other parties, and must be highly commended by the entire population of Barbados.
Now to the latest COVID-19 update. Barbados recorded a total of 129 new COVID-19 cases on Saturday. Of the new cases identified by the Barbados Santos Public Health Laboratory, from the 1,029 tests conducted, 64 females and 65 males, there were 15 persons under the age of 18 and 114 who were 18 years and older. In isolation facilities, there were 73 persons, and in home isolation, there were 2,411 persons. 2 deaths were recorded: a 68-year-old vaccinated female and an 87-year-old.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Hi, my name is Christian Paul. I'm the country manager of BCIC here in Barbados. When the COVID vaccine first came out, I thought it was an interesting and a potentially successful way for us to navigate our way out of the pandemic and a return to some state of normalcy. I took the vaccine because I have a young family. I want to make sure that they are safe and protected. I have friends, extended family, And obviously I work here with colleagues, so I thought it was a good way to help protect them and to keep them safe, as well as myself. I would encourage others to take the vaccine because I know that you can still transmit the disease even if you're vaccinated, but the chances of being severely ill or worse, dying, are significantly reduced.
Let's roll up our sleeves and get back to living.
To regional happenings, 2 Jamaican students on a 20-kilometer walk from Lviv, Ukraine to Poland have fallen ill. Foreign Affairs Minister Karima Smith says only one is now receiving medical care in an ambulance, and the students were forced to walk after the bus transporting them to the Polish border was blocked by angry people. We get the details from Jamaica Gleaner.
I wanted to let you know that the 24 students that left Lviv earlier today, you heard about their bus drive being disrupted, so that they had to take the rest of the journey on foot, that they have reached a border point, an agreed border point. Of course, these areas are extremely crowded, so it will take time for them to go through. Regrettably, we understand that 2 of the students are not feeling well, one in particular because of the cold. She's currently getting care in an ambulance now at that border crossing point. Miss Seeley and our Polish contact on the other side are on their way to the border point, and they do have a heated bus that is ready to accommodate the 24 students when they will have crossed through. And as I've indicated before, we've made arrangements for accommodations and food on that side. And of course, we know that arrangements are being made in respect of flights back home.
On the international front, Russian President Vladimir Putin ordered his military command to put nuclear armed forces on high alert as Ukraine fighters defending the city of Kharkiv said they had repelled an attack by invading Russian troops. We get the details from Reuters TV.
Dear colleagues, as you can see, not only do Western countries take unfriendly measures against our country in the economic dimension, I mean the illegal sanctions that everyone knows about very well, but also the top officials of leading NATO countries allow themselves to make aggressive statements with regards to our country. That is why I order the Defense Minister and Chief of the General Staff to put Russian army deterrence forces on high combat alert.
That's news, but for the very latest, you can visit us at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media and bus terminals, as well as Screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also hear